the young Tory Lanez. I don't know if you've heard the young Tory Lanez. He got shot up in jail.
He got shanked up.
Yeah, well, he got blasted. That's what they call it out there. I know a little bit of the prison.
Well, they said it right here.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez was hospitalized in critical condition Monday after an angry inmate savagely attacked him with a prison shank.
Yeah.
Stabbing him over a dozen times all over his body, with the rapper suffering collapsed lungs.
What a crazy situation. Tory's team says he was stabbed 14 times, including 7 times in his back, 4 times in his torso, twice in the back of the head, and once in the left side of his face. Yeah, this was a gruesome attack. You get shot, it's one thing. Getting stabbed, it's a whole different. That's some medieval shit. That's fire and brimstones. That's Braveheart. That's William Wallace type shit. I'm good on that.
It's lethal.
It's very lethal.
It's lethal.
It's up close and personal. Let's see what else they say here. Both of his lungs collapsed and Tory was placed on a breathing apparatus. I can't speak. I must have had a stroke. Though he is now breathing on his own, according to his camp. This is coming from TMZ, as people can see. Yeah, man, that's just crazy. Like,
it is crazy. It sucks, and it happens every fucking day in jail.
Yeah.
Like, from just watch some prison shit, and they'll show you.
Yeah, no one's safe.
No,
no one's safe. But I would have thought that being who he is, being a celebrity, having celebrity status, what he's in for, it is some controversy behind what he's in for.
Yeah.
You would have thought they would have taken more steps to make sure that this man is a little bit more safe than what he was.
Maybe they did, and they didn't think this person would do what he did, but he did it. And the thing is, he's a fucking inmate.
Yeah.
I understand the status, but he's still in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can they do? Maybe he did have that and thought dude was cool. Who knows?
Well, it was reported that Tory was attacked about 7:20 a.m. At the state corrections official, according to the state corrections officials, by another inmate at the California Correctional Institute in Tehachapi. Tory was rushed by ambulance to an offsite hospital, then airlifted to Kern Medical Hospital due to the seriousness of his condition. Tory Lanez, legal name Daystar, blah 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 blah, and this is all about Meg Thee Stallion. Which there's more stuff coming from that about Meg Thee Stallion, but I do have a clip of this press release here. Let's go to that.
Lawyers for rapper Tory Lanez update his condition after he was stabbed in prison, and they claim they have new evidence in his case that could set him free. You're watching Eyewitness News at 11:30. We're live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. I'm Philip Palmer.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Rapper Tory Lanez recovering after being stabbed 14 times in prison. Today, his legal team provided an update on his condition, but they also talked about what they say is new evidence in the case that landed him behind bars.
Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live in the newsroom and has details. Rob.
Yeah, stabbed on Monday. Today, Tory Lanez is in fair condition. His legal team taking advantage of the media's interest in the attack to make a new case for his release, saying a new witness has stepped up who can clear Lanez in that shooting case. Now, Lanez is currently serving a 10-year prison sentence in Tehachapi after shooting Megan Thee Stallion back in the feet back in 2020. Now, Lanez was jumped on Monday. His representatives say he was stabbed 14 times, causing both his lungs to collapse, though he is now breathing on his own. Prison officials say his attacker was Santino Casio, a man serving.
Yeah.
Does this man look like he's well?
No, and this is why I was getting at that he should have been a little bit more protected as being a celebrity. This man is a very heinous individual. Aside from the stabbing,
Yeah, but this could this be a bad picture?
nah, B. That's him. That's how he get down. This him right here. Let's
A
get into
life
it.
sentence for murder, who also has a history of prison time violence. The motive for the attack is unknown.
That right there. He has shown a propensity of violence while in custody at the Correctional Institute.
So do you think it was a setup?
I don't know if it was a setup. I heard throughout the week that from conspiracy that it's a setup because of this whole Megan Thee Stallion stuff. That it's, to me, that's kind of a reach. I feel like there was a lack of security at the jail.
Yeah.
I feel like because Tory was in G-pop, so it's, I don't know, it's like, why would they allow him to just be so freely roaming with other inmates
Okay, so here's my theory.
when he is a violent inmate?
Well, here's my theory.
Mhm.
Okay. What if he doesn't know who he is? What if he doesn't know who Tory? I didn't know who Tory Lanez was for a long time, and he was already out and popular and doing his thing. I didn't know who he was until I think there was some allegations, and he was talking about it, and sexual allegations towards someone else, singer. I can't remember his name, but anyway, so that's when I discovered who he was. But I didn't know his music. I didn't know anything about him. I just knew they said his name and I knew who he was. I clocked him and that was it.
Yeah.
And then the whole Megan Thee Stallion thing happened and I'm like, okay, damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, but to say that I didn't know who he was, what if this dude didn't know who he was? To him, he might have just been a black guy, and black and brown in prison don't get along.
So I hear you on that, but on this particular matter,
Yeah.
from what I'm hearing throughout the interwebs,
Yeah.
take that as you may,
Yeah. I am.
that the Hispanic Latin gangs are not
Happy.
they're not backing this. They're saying that this dude is not what this wasn't us. This dude acted on his own. He's rolled.
I know. I'm not saying that it was the gang that said you got to shank him up and shit. I'm saying himself as an individual who saw a black guy and was like, oh yeah, it's go time.
No, I know. I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying to what you were to what you're saying, what you initially was saying, because they don't get along in there. This wasn't something that was a coordinated thing by the Latin gangs. Granted, he could have very well have just been like, whatever black dude is here, I'm going to stab him up. And Tory was that black dude that's there. And I totally get that too. My argument is, being a violent inmate, he should not have been able to get that.
I get that
close to not Tory, but
I understand. And I get, I got wind of what you were saying.
Yeah.
I got what you put down for real. Like I really got it. I'm just throwing the other different scenarios. You keep going back to the same one. I got it. What I'm saying is it could have been that.
No, absolutely.
I'm not saying gang, just him as an individual. And he's a black guy. It could have just been that, or it could have been the setup. Like who knows? Yeah. But only the guy knows why.
But that's where I say that there was a lapse in correctional facility security, because someone that violent should not be able to just roam freely to be able to stab people like that. I mean, granted, it's prison. They're all violent because of that for the
No,
most part.
I don't want to say they're all violent. Some people are in there for different reasons,
Absolutely.
and they have to pay that price, right? But
Absolutely, but let's keep it real. Prison in general is a violent place, and most people that go to prison you're going to have to get down or lay down. You know what I mean? And for someone that they're reporting that has already had this level of violence associated to them, he's already serving a life sentence for murder. It just doesn't make sense to me why he would be able to walk around so freely to be able to do that. But again, I'm not in prison. I don't play those games.
I mean, how many of those questions could be asked?
Yeah.
Why did the other guy that got shanked that day get shanked?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where were they at? Like, why wasn't he taken care of? I mean, you can ask that about that all the time. Like, how did drugs get in there? Yeah. Some of these motherfuckers bring it in.
Yeah.
How do cell phones get in there? Sometimes they bring it in. It's just a number of things, and everything is open to possibilities.
Yeah.
So,
moral of the story, people, don't go to prison.
but now, because this happened, somebody came forward and said there's new evidence.
Yeah. So let's get into that.
Today, the legal team for the Canadian rapper held a news conference in downtown LA saying Lanez was railroaded by then DA George Gascon, who had just survived a recall election. And they say a bodyguard for Megan Thee Stallion has come forward saying he heard her say that she fired the weapon, not Lanez.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was a witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times. Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun.
Now, Lanez and his legal team are asking Governor Gavin Newsom to take a look at this new information and issue a full pardon. Meanwhile, Megan Thee Stallion sought and was granted a restraining order against Lanez, saying he's been harassing her by paying bloggers to spread misinformation about her. Reporting live in the newsroom, Rob Hayes, ABC 7.
Yeah.
It just so happens all of a sudden there's new evidence. Like,
secret
I
documents.
know shit happens like that, but it just so happens this dude gets stabbed, and not saying that it was a setup for that to happen, but it's a good excuse to use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know.
So I always thought that Tory did get railroaded. Not to the extent of what a lot of people think.
Okay.
Or say, should I say. I felt like Tory and the best friend, Meg's best friend, I've always felt that they both should have gotten it.